So what ended up happening shortly after Robin committed suicide, I did a lot of soul searching. I was just wondering, was I actually going to end up killing myself, because pharmaceuticals made me suicidal and homicidal. You don't hear that on the black box warning for those drugs. That's one of the reasons why I'm outing the pharmaceutical industry, is because I believe it's criminal, the way that drugs are marketed that interrupt people's, the core of who we are. And, you know, maybe you've noticed that with people on medications. It's not just that they may be more manageable, they may be suicidal and homicidal. And that's one of the reasons they don't mention it on the advertisements, is because the family support network would go away if they realized they were potentially in danger. We just had some more shootings, apparently. Now, some of the shootings are fabricated, and some of them, even though they're orchestrated, people die as well. You can hashtag crisis actors and look at some of that if you care to. So when terror type events take place, even those like 9/11, yes, people died. Lots of people died on September 11 of 2001 and afterwards with the war on terror that has been going on for a long time. Unfortunately, the true terrorists have not been held accountable for that. Of course, George H. Herbert Walker Bush is probably, if he actually did die and that, I don't know. I don't know for sure. He could be somewhere else right now. Ultimately, his soul will be for eternity. Unlikely we'll have the same accommodations. Satan's children get to spend an eternity in hell. God's children get to spend an eternity in heaven. The down payment on that heavenly destination is the Holy Spirit right now in this life. And I will tell you, from my perspective, it is a tremendous down payment. I remember looking at life thinking, wow, before I was born again, when I had the impossible mandates of Scripture, I just couldn't carry them out. What I thought was, I wish I never found out about all this stuff. Well, the reason I was hopeless is all I had was my human nature. Yeah, and I went to church lots of times, led Bible study groups, selected to lead men's groups at a mega church, Christ the Rock Community Church in Appleton, Wisconsin. You can check it out. Then I worked at a full-time ministry, Rawhide Boys Ranch, from 1991 to 2002. And we homeschooled our sons and perpetuated the global line. All that time, I was completely unaware that I was spiritually dead. I was a dead man walking. Now, the me that I was died when I was born again. From a theological perspective, that's how it is. The old nature is gone, the new nature is here. The old nature can never come back the way that it was. I'm not saying I don't struggle with sin, just a whole lot different than it used to be. Now that I have the power of the Spirit. So now I have the passion, purpose, eternal perspective, and the power to do what I couldn't do, and the pleasure to enjoy it all, even in the midst of tremendous opposition and the risk of losing my life. Well, it's really no risk at all. I'm safe in the arms of Jesus. You may know him as Yeshua, Yahweh, the Alpha and Omega, the great I am. Here we've got the sun punching through the top of the clouds. Wow. There it is again. So this video, that the zoomed in version, will be merged and linked in my liked video playlist. You should be able to see it there later, here too. So seeing is believing. What? What do we see and what do we believe? Can we be tricked? Some of the blockbuster movies like the Matrix and Inception and Gravity and Interstellar had, you know, maybe $100 million or less budgets. NASA gets over $58 million a day to present a false reality with artificial intelligence, computer technology. I believe AI has been self-aware for a long time and dangerous. The Terminator franchise, one of the biggest movie franchises ever, the Terminator series. Look it up. We've got what's called predictive programming. I'm going to see if I can see. I can't do much with the lighting on my live broadcast right now. Oh wow, I was zoomed in a little bit. Yeah, see, I don't have a way of changing that. The P1000 is pretty cool though. What's showing right now with that. So, like for example, we've got families that'll come out here, taking their photos, updating their status, fishing. We've got a persona that is a digital profile that is being tracked, traced, database. The talking heads that are the CEOs of major corporations like Amazon or Facebook, Apple, YouTube. These individuals are largely like avatars for the artificial intelligence. And like Elon Musk, there's Elon doesn't always lie. He does lie about you know, selling your house, moving to Mars. That's ridiculous. Wow, now I can see the sun. Wow, that is so crisp and clear and beautiful with just the right amount of cloud consistency to filter it. There's no, I'm not using any filter on the lens of my P1000 at all. So for the live broadcast, I'm zoomed in on a crisp, clear-edged sun. You can see it later. In a few hours, I'll upload it. So we've got a firmament up above us. You can hashtag firmament, and that separates the water above from the water below that we're looking at. It's more than water vapor up there, because in the account of the flood that Noah prepared for, God opened up the floodgates of heaven, the fountains of the deep, another water source. Floodgates and fountains, and then caused it to start raining, to flood over the tops of all the mountains. That's why, you know, it didn't make sense to me when I was a kid thinking, wow, God caused it to rain and flooded the whole earth over the tops of mountains. That doesn't make any sense. Neither did people living on a spinning globe upside down in relationship to other people. I remember having that thought as like at maybe a 7-year-old or so, but I didn't really dig into it. I just trusted the authority, the people I trusted. Heck, all my friends and family believed we lived on a globe. Why would I believe any different? I accepted the reality with which I was presented, including Santa Claus. I believed the Santa lie. The Santa lies. Santa lies, NASA lies, Satan lies. I hashtagged all of that together. That's why I took the Santa Claus hat to the to the Flat Earth Conference in Denver, put it above a mirror, said, "I've been good" on the Santa hat. Well, the reality is we didn't have Santa knowing what we were doing behind closed doors, figuring out whether to take his flying freaking reindeer and deliver a lump of coal or our wish list. But I bought it, and almost everybody I've asked did as well. Over 95%. And when I was 7 years old, I found out that the Santa Claus was a lie, that whole story. I know he was a historic figure, and yet it's a pagan holiday that's a wicked, satanic holiday as well, just so you know. Anyway, when I was 7 years old, I found out that Santa was a lie, and that then it was replaced with another lie. The moon landing hoax. How about that? Traded one lie for another. Don't often see that, do you? I started riding a two-wheel bicycle without training wheels when I was 2.5 years old. I didn't see any other kids doing it. I just thought, man, I'd like to. I saw other people riding bikes without training wheels, and I didn't want them on anymore. And I asked my dad to take them off, and he did. And I didn't realize that was well ahead of the curve, well ahead of what was normal. What is normal, and who determines that? What kind of box do people want to put us in? I didn't get the box. My dad helped me to think outside the box. So did Robin Williams with his humor. His humor, his life was an example of thinking outside the box, to be sure. I remember when I first saw his humor on Mork and Mendy, I thought, wow, that's funny. Funny stuff. So the tide has come in and up probably about a foot since I stepped out here. Basically, I'm in the same spot. I'm going to leave my tripod there and just flip on around. So the Myrtle Beach skyline is between 25 and 30 miles away, depending on which point I'm pointing to, because it's you can see the shape of it from a map, compared to a topographical map. Just so you know, satellites, as we're told, are really science fiction. They bounce signals off of the firmament. It's like a big dome up there. It is a structure, and so satellite reception is actually radio type frequencies, broadcast frequencies bounced off of the dome, the firmament. It's a symphony of humanity. Wow, that light reflection shadow is pretty cool. I think I'm going to do that right now. Watch what happens to my reflection there. When it starts dimming like that, I can tell it's into some serious different cloud densities, and I want to zoom in on it. Gets really interesting. Yeah, there it is. In the midst of the clouds. So if you hashtag local sun, you'll see this occurrence quite a bit. And also if you hashtag Robert Porsche or YouTube Truth, you'll find me as well. And this, not just this work, but the showing the beauty of creation, the people out enjoying it. Some merged with an audio Bible, some just showing the beauty of this with or without commentary. I have different varieties of that, and what happens sometimes is people will come across my channel and you know, maybe see my comment and spend a lot of time there. I've got people that tell me they do, in a variety of circumstances. Some of them can't get out of the house much, and they enjoy watching the beauty of this. Or maybe they just can't afford to come out this way. This area, the Grand Strand in Myrtle Beach, is, I believe, the most driven to destination in North America. Quite possibly the world, I don't know. A lot of people, to be sure, and One of the, it's a big equalizer. We don't really know walking down the beach who we're seeing. You know, they could be captains of business and industry, millionaires, billionaires, or living on the street. I've got friends that I reach out to that are struggling with their living situations. I hashtag surfing in one of my videos with some of my surfing friends out here, and when I clicked on that, there were some massive big wave surfers that were towed into waves in Hawaii. Massive waves. I think the largest wave surfed is over 100 feet. It's on my liked videos if that channel is still up. What I've done at times is to show the absurdity of the upside down world by inverting the camera. And I want to make sure I want to keep my hand out of the way. So I want to get a couple of surfers riding waves upside down. As funny as that looks, upside down bicycles and people, none of that makes any sense. Of course, it's not possible. It does not exist except in the imagination. There we've got our surfer. And on the category of inverted camera view, I've called them beams. When a meme isn't enough, let there be beams. Wow, what an excellent ride. One of my friends, Luke, came up to me the other day and he said, can you leave a bunch of stickers up by the bikes? He's got the adaptive surfing. He helps with people with mobility impairments to help them to go surfing. So cool. Yesterday when I was out on Main Street, it was so interesting. Main Street in North Myrtle, some young ladies came up and said, hey, I was just on your Instagram. I hadn't met them ever, and there they were. And then people saw me out there blowing bubbles and said, hey, can we get a bunch of stickers? And it's pretty interesting that we can have an impact on people all over the world and have a syndication, so to speak, our own personal yet public syndication. And there's actually a lawsuit potentially pending with YouTube, and that video is featured on my channel, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that right now as well. Apparently there may be some laws that YouTube is violating, and they bring in billions of dollars. It's a big deal, and part of it's kind of like a runaway freight train in that there's information getting out. They want a certain amount of the information to get out about the reality of the world we live in, and yet they don't want it all out. They want to regulate it, control it. Well, it may be out of control for them. I don't know. See, to be clear, just as I say pretty regularly, Satan will use who and what he can, and God will use it all, including Satan. And that's one of the realities that I'm particularly grateful for. Greater is he that lives in me than he that lives in the world. I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. The video that I told you about is Richie from Boston featured it. It's in his video. You can see it there. Now, there's just very short time left on this video, but I could see with my naked eye a paddle surfer out there, and the Myrtle Beach skyline is showing up a little bit because of the wind direction and blowing some of the moisture out of the way. So there it is. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement.